I mean, it's a cold open, so we can just
We
keep
just jump,
talking.
just do. So,
It's
God,
so
man.
early. I feel like
No.
a little behind the scenes peek, right? Nick and I have day jobs, and by day jobs I mean night jobs, where our full time gigs are all at night to help pay like rent and insurance, right? And we do everything else either after or before. So sleep is very precious to us. So when Ian asks us to wake up early because it fits his schedule, and he's a bright enough morning person, it puts this whole project into question. Really, is it worth it? Is it?
And listen, before you turned on the recording, I said I was right.
Oh, it's
and
on. It's on.
Oh yeah.
Done.
I'll decide to keep this in or not.
The suffering means that we're doing something worthwhile. That means this is worth it.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
say, Ian,
Art
this is the
can
first
only
time.
be. Oh, go ahead.
What?
No, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say art can only be created through pain, Ian.
Oh no, I was going even further back. My Catholic grandmother. Suffering is all for good things. Yeah.
If you're suffering, you're living. You're
doing right.
Life, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Nick, were you gonna say anything, or we're just gonna go through it?
Yeah,
it's been a while since I've seen Chris this tired.
Very tired. As Nick knows, I had a very rough weekend. So,
oh man,
I have not slept a lot.
Well, this movie is like a waking dream in a way. It's
yeah. Oh, this was a good way to end my weekend. Like I needed something good, and this was it. And then we watched this. We rewatched it like through Discord with some friends who really like Godzilla. It was a really good time. We had a blast.
Sick. I had somebody come in twice and say, "So you're not watching Power Rangers?" And I said, "No, it's definitely not Power Rangers. It's not even kind of." While they're fighting on a motorcycle and something's exploding for no reason. It was
closer to Kamen Rider.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. Man,
it's cool though.
It's real fun, guys. The designs in this, I think, are definitely worth talking about. But oh my god, what a good movie!
Oh, I got some info on the designs too. Yeah, so Godzilla Final Wars. We're doing Godzilla movies up until Godzilla -1, which we will be talking about on the 15th of December. So this will be the first. So I only chose 2 movies. So I chose 2 of my favorites, and not only my favorites, but ones I think would be really good to talk about.
Yes.
Which would be this one, Final Wars. I almost chose the first one, the 1958 original. And Shin Godzilla, which we'll be doing at the end of November, the very last day.
Yeah.
So can't wait for that. Let's just go into it then. Let's just go into Rising Action. Everything we knew about Godzilla Final Wars before watching the movie. So we all kind of know that I'm a big Godzilla fan, although if you've ever met like Godzilla fans in real life, I'm probably not on their level, like commitment or dedication. I've watched the majority of the movies. I'm sure I haven't watched them all, or it's been so long because I watched a lot as a kid. Like I would go to Hollywood Video, if anyone remembers that, and then they had a lineup of, and it was the first time I saw the lineup of Godzilla movies on DVD. because usually I would just catch them on TV or VHS, and
Right.
they would have the stamps on the back that told you which monsters were in the movie. So that's how I would pick and choose. So of course I would choose Godzilla Final Wars because it had all the stamps. It had so many.
Everybody's in it. Everybody's in it,
Oh, yeah.
including Godzilla from Godzilla 2000 is in it.
That's right.
Zilla.
That's right.
God,
And Godzuki, who comes in later, or Manila.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the
good.
child film version, who is like all about learning the lessons of friendship and stuff.
Yes.
Like, kind of, yeah. That character is so wild. That character. Anyway,
it does nothing. It does nothing. Yeah. So I'm interested. We'll come back to me, but I want to hear y'all. What did you all know about the movie before going in? Let's start with Nick, and then we'll go with Ian because I feel like Ian's might be more fascinating. But Nick, what did you know about Godzilla Final Wars before going in?
I mean, as much as you, at the time when the first time watching, and I wouldn't have realized that movie would end up being like the most action oriented of the kaiju films.
Yeah,
because
like,
it is
by
actually
a huge margin.
It is actually nonstop. Like, it is insane.
Yeah.
Which is on purpose.
Yeah.
From the director's point of view, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, in that regard, anything beyond that, not that much. I don't know really that much about the director up to this point. Or there's, I mean, yeah, Americans, so everyone knows Don Fryer, and he's there.
Yeah, his acting debut.
Acting debut.
Wow. I mean, he steals the show. Steals the show.
He has presence.
And I definitely know Don Fryer more than anything in this film, so. Not kidding.
Yeah. Ian, what did you know about Godzilla Final Wars before going in?
Coming
in movie, I'll pass you the pillow.
I'm sorry, Nick, did you have more?
No, that's all. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, Ian, what'd you know?
Basically nothing. Nothing at all. I would say that, like, because I've seen some Godzilla movies.
Okay.
I would not be able to tell you which ones. I would say I probably saw the first one from '58, and
yeah.
I've definitely seen King Kong Godzilla, the one from the '60s. I want to say
that's definitely a less watched one.
I had the poster and I just thought it was fantastic, but it is a slow ride, that movie.
That movie is slow. Like,
yep.
Jesus, even by that, like, that standard. Even when compared to watching the first Godzilla, like, that's a slow movie.
Yeah. I honestly had the expectation that my expectations were completely subverted when we started. We can get into that in a minute, but yeah, I kind of did expect it to be a, like, 2/3 talky movie of, like, people being very concerned about what this means, and then 1/3 dude in suit busts up a model town.
Yeah, the usual pacing for a Godzilla movie, and then there's like an alien plot, maybe a spy plot.
This movie has all of it.
It's everything. It's everything for a reason. Yeah. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
I mean, that's basically the extent of what I had as far as an expectation. I did not know what I assumed from the title, Final Wars. Maybe they were doing that, like, 2000s horror film thing of, we're gonna kick off. This is the final one. No.
Well, it was.
Yeah, for a while.
For 10 years.
Fuck me, really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
The next Godzilla movie would be Legendary's Godzilla in 2014.
Wow.
Which, by the way, fellas, that movie's about to be 10 years old.
Jeez.
Ooh.
Isn't that fucked up?
It's sick. That's sickening. You're sick.
That would be right.
Oh, okay.
So
Damn.
Yeah.
Before sorry, before I pass the torch, Ian, anything else?
no, go ahead.
Gotcha. So before rewatching last night, mentioned all that stuff about Godzilla. Godzilla Final Wars is in like my top 3
Okay.
of Godzilla movies. That's why I suggested it.
Mm.
And I wanted to see if it can maintain that place. And I
Mhm.
think it does. It's so wild to me. Like that movie is so nuts. It's so entertaining. And as a kid, it's like there's so many kaiju going in.
Mhm.
There are some complaints that I'm like, yeah, no, I get that. Uh, it's a very divisive movie among
Mhm.
Godzilla fans, especially in Japan. I don't know if y'all know. Well, we'll get that'll be into discussion in the media because it might be interesting to talk about the production.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, like I mentioned, it gives me a real nostalgic feeling because I had rented it from. I specifically remember Hollywood Video because I remember the layout of that place.
Mhm.
And so when I see myself picking it up, I'm like, yeah, that's the Hollywood Video layout because it was cheaper than Blockbuster, but better choices than the
Mhm.
mom and pop shop that was next to us that you could do $1 a night.
But they also had video game rentals. That was probably another thing, right?
Yeah, the big one. So the cool thing about the mom and pop place, I think I've talked about it, was that it
Mhm.
had rentals for. It had really cheap video game rentals, but for like N64.
Oh, sick.
And like nothing else. And we had an N64, so that's where we would go.
That's
Whereas Hollywood Video would start having like other things.
Yeah, they did Xbox and PlayStation, I think maybe.
Yeah, so when we finally had a PS2, that's when it became like, yeah, let's go to Hollywood Video or like a GameCube or something. And it was
Yeah.
cheaper than again like cheaper than Blockbuster at the time.
Yeah.
Before Blockbuster itself became like $1 a rental, no matter what, with like no late fees. But that would be a little bit down the line.
Yeah.
Not too far down, surprisingly, but so they had all the Godzilla movies. As a kid, you see all the stamps on the back to tell you the kaiju. I'm like, well, I want the one. If I'm only going to be able to rent one, I'm
Right.
going to rent the one with all the kaiju in it, with all of
Right.
them. Why
Mhm.
rent when there's only 2? So that would introduce me to this one. And yeah, man, what a relic of its fucking time in 2004.
Mhm.
Right. Uh, so that could lead us right into the climax or
Okay.
discussion of the media. There's a lot. I fucking love this movie. It's so goofy and wild. You know what? I think the best way to do this is I want to hear Ian's reaction because that'll probably
Okay.
Mm.
give me stuff to say,
Okay.
like, and give facts about.
Mhm.
Just because I'm fascinated by Ian, who's watched little Godzilla movies, watching this one where it's
Ye-
supposed to be like they're supposed to play it to people who've been watching a lot of Godzilla, like have watched it all.
Right.
Yeah. So go for it, man.
So we'll just start at the beginning. Like we open with that montage catching you up on
Yeah.
like the big. Um, I didn't remember. I didn't remember early on or in the Godzilla franchise that they directly link Godzilla to the atomic bomb.
Yeah, that's
But
the first movie.
so like I remember it being like metaphorically like yes this is a representation of the bomb, but they were like no the bomb did it, the bomb is the why this happened.
Yeah, it's the reminder
Right.
of humanity's sins and everything that led to that point.
Right. So we get all that, it's made and it was like oh okay, and then we immediately jump into a like wait, it's first Godzilla being bombed down an ice hole. Is that right? That's the first thing we see.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, they drop him down an ice crevice. Don Fry
Mm.
does and his crew.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Don Fry, who I mentioned before, acting debut, MMA fighter at the time, back when the MMA was actually an MMA.
Yes.
Like you could
Yes.
do anything. That's when you could punch people in the balls. That's like a tactic.
No holds
He
barred.
was also a New Japan wrestler. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I mean, Don steals the show. He's immediately
His
like
presence.
he's got great presence. He does.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see him acting against pretty much everybody else in the cast, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, because all the actors, in my
everyone
opinion,
else is an actor.
yes, exactly. So like,
And Don Fry is obviously not. Like,
no, he's just like a big brush. Like he is a version of the character he's playing. They were just well, get a big American guy who's like a tough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They apparently there was like 3 people they reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all the names, but like Chris Lambert was one of them.
Really?
And he
Wow.
didn't even respond.
Oh man. Oh my god.
I gotta it was God, I don't remember the other 2, but I do remember the Chris Lambert one. So you could have had Highlander as that.
Oh my god. What a shame. I mean, the in this is wild. I was gonna say like because the people who are playing UN folks, the people who are playing like scientists, they're all giving pretty grounded performances.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, especially in the second half of the movie, Dawn and the aliens, and they're just swinging for the fences. They're going wild, and I really like it. I like it feels very Satsu-esque. It feels very like heightened, and yeah.
No, the Zillions give that's with an X.
Yeah.
Zillions become pretty much tokusatsu villains like towards the end.
They're like a boy band in leather gear, and they're just evil. They're just evil.
There's a moment where it cuts. The guy's about to fight, like at the end, the pretty boy one.
Yeah.
The one with like the fucking cat face from like The Nightman Cometh. And there's a moment where it cuts him and he's like, I'm now serious. And it cuts back and now his hair's like poofed up, like almost like he went Super Saiyan or like Kaioken.
Yeah, it's true form.
There's a fight in this movie. I don't want to go out of order. I'll get back in order in a minute. But there's a fight.
Honestly, this movie's so chaotic. I don't think we're gonna do play by play because there's a lot. There's a lot in this movie, and we could spend the entire time just describing the movie.
Because then we got to the actual fights.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to what was it? Heating a dragon on the mantle of the earth, super freezing it, and then using a drill to shatter it.
Shatter. Yeah. Manda, I believe is the name.
Yeah.
Manda hug and kiss.
Man. But I think it is in fact a fight in this movie where one dude gets like a golden aura before he fights. Right?
Oh yeah. It's the final fight with that Zillion pretty boy. He powers up.
Yes.
We don't know where the golden aura comes from, but
they don't explain it. Oh my god! And I was telling Chris last night. I mentioned this. Like, when there's a scene where 3 of our protagonists get teleported to the island of twins. Is that right?
The island of children.
The island of children.
Get it right. That's a famous place in the Godzilla universe.
Oh, okay. There's like 2 twins who are like little ghost girls, and they it sounds like a fever dream, and they
well, Ian, go ahead.
And they give him the amulet, and get told what is it? Gigan
use this to destroy Gigan. Yeah. Gigan's the one with the 2 claws and the buzzsaw sort of thing.
Oh, he's the buzzsaw tummy. Chick. Yeah. Okay.
He's a famous one from the movies, especially during the show and like Heisen era. I love his design in this one. I think it's better than most of his other designs.
I think the claws they gave him in this was really good. I've seen his other. I like his like giant pincer hands. Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I like him in this version. So the Island of Children, Ian, is
Yes.
a famous island in the Godzilla first. That is where the people who worship Mothra come from.
Okay.
And so in the Mothra movies, that's where the twins, and they're always that size, and they're twins. They're psychic,
Right.
and they can teleport people. And they're
Okay.
there to make sure Mothra can help Godzilla.
Okay. Okay.
So it was all established in the Showa era, which, by the way, this movie is bringing up a lot of stuff from the late Showa era, even though it's the last movie of technically the millennium.
Mm-hmm.
Which, would you believe it's the 12th movie in a 10-year span of
Really?
Godzilla movies? Yeah.
So they did 12 in that 10-year period right before
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
and then they went dormant for another decade
For
after
10
it.
years. So that's a pattern with Godzilla movies. They'll do a bunch, and then they notice the money peters off with each movie. So then they stop, and then they bring it back. It happened after the Showa era into the Heisen. Sort of with the Millennium, but the Heisen to Millennium era, I believe, was like a real short span.
Okay.
And then into the Legendary stuff in 2014, which we're still in that era, I guess. And that would be the longest hiatus. This movie bombed in the box office, by the way.
Can I tell you? I mean, I get that. Like,
yeah,
it's a wild movie to explain to somebody. It really is.
It's supposed to be like this. It's a celebration of the end of Showa and Millennium era. It's all these monsters. It's supposed to be like a fest, like a feast, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be nonstop throughout the entire fucking thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's weird because one of the big complaints being the kaiju fights are really short.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the movie, compared to especially like you have that motorcycle fight that's really long, and it's good. It's a good action sequence.
Yeah.
And then other human fights, and then the alien plot or Zillion plot.
Yeah.
Which moves at a fucking clip. There's like they just blast through all the reveals that plot would have.
Well, yeah, like that. Their plot has like 3 major twists and it has nothing to. It feels it's so crazy. There's because the X-aliens, Zalians,
yeah.
They first resolve the monster crisis, and are like, oh, we're gonna help humanity, and then we almost immediately learn we've bred them with our DNA only to lower their guard. Like, there's twists and turns in this movie,
and they were the ones who had summoned the monsters in order to build trust.
Exactly.
They're gonna like eat them. They're cattle.
Yes.
I don't know how they're gonna eat them, but
they're gonna eat humanity. It's Wait, and the meteorite. There's also a meteorite.
Yeah, he summons a meteor. There's a point in the movie, and it's like halfway through the movie. He summons it, and that meteor doesn't show up until like after 30 minutes of its summoning. So it's a real time summoning spell.
Yep.
It's for preventative measures.
Yeah.
It worked out, yeah.
Oh man, that's what I liked about it was you'd be focused. I think we focus on one plot point 10 minutes at a time, and each plot point just turn, new thing,
fucking goes. The director wanted this to feel like it was nonstop.
It was mummified Gigan that was in that big pen, is that right? Like, some of my favorite. I love those like superimposed shots of the scientists in teeny tiny next to the model of Gigan's big feet or whatever. Great stuff. Great.
I know it's so weird with where they would use puppets and models and then CG. Moments where you can tell they're totally on a set versus green screen.
Well, and then sometimes they would interchange with like early CGI that I don't know. I found it charming. I liked how
Same.
like it felt very Beetleborgs-esque, like the
Yeah,
animation.
That the
Not wrong.
CG felt like early odds to me. Like,
Yeah,
It's very chunky. It's very like it felt almost like what was that internet show we referenced fairly regularly? All the blue people who are like surfing a literal internet, and it's like
oh, Reboot.
reboot. Yeah, some of
It's
the
not
like
internet show. Okay, whatever. Go. Yeah, go.
that's fine. The purple, anyway.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
Indigo.
Like those shots of the fang shaped spaceships all zooming out at once
Yeah.
from the ship felt very like, oh, this is where we're at. I love
Yeah.
this. Great.
No, man, it's there's so much to talk about the movie, but there's like not really, because
Well, 'cause
oh, go ahead.
plot is just an excuse to have a bunch of things happen.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah. Which they do. You have Matrix style fights, which the Matrix was very popular around that time.
Yes.
Slow motion kung fu battles. Like I had mentioned, the 2 motorcycle fights legit great. Like,
Yeah,
it's exciting. Shit gets crazy. It escalates.
Yeah.
It has a satisfying conclusion of getting hit with the fucking motorcycle.
The fucking rams him with the motorcycle on that bridge.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, he tail whips him, dude. He fucking front does a front wheelie and then swipes the dude out of the air with the back of the motorcycle.
No, I want to ask you guys about the because I totally get the Matrix style fighting, and that's how they explain. That's the in quotations explanation for why everybody's fighting style is whip your coat, kick real high,
Rip Coke. The denials of the hits.
Yeah. Did you guys think that X-Men was also on the mind of people, like with all the talking about me? Because I just thought like, oh, 2004, like I think 3 X-Men are already out, or like X-Men is big right now.
2004? Hang on, let's see.
I think at least 2 were out by
It's
then.
fucking bright on my fucking big 1440p monitor.
The first 2 had come out.
So 2's the most popular X-Men movie.
Yeah.
At the time. Okay. Yeah, no, I get that.
I kind of like that quality of the movie is literally just fucking all of it. We're doing all the ideas now. Like,
yeah. And like I said, because they kind of knew this was going to be the end.
Right.
They didn't know for how long.
Mm-hmm.
But this was going to be it for Godzilla for the Godzilla franchise for a while.
Well, let me ask Nick, when you watch this, what are some of the designs that stand out to you? Because I think design is some of the gold of this movie for me. But...
Yeah, I mean the major one being Gigan. I do think Gigan. That's where I like the up until that point the best he's ever looked.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. I think I always really liked the Godzilla's head for this one and this whole era in the 2000s.
Cat ears.
Yeah, and like,
but it's also very menacing, you know.
Yeah, because the brows are so thick, like it casts a huge shadow on the eyes.
Yeah, you can barely see the eyes unless they zoom in on them.
Yeah, I always like that design. And then, yeah, just everything with the more earlier villains, like seeing them again, but like they're not like fully in suits. There's also like more effects with them. So Hedorah being like clearly having like more like a darker colored design and everything.
Right.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Did you remember that it evolves into King Ghidorah, the Monster X?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't until he appeared that I went, oh yeah, it's gonna evolve into King Ghidorah. Yeah, that memory was unlocked.
I the fight at the end with that, like that transform, like this is not my final form.
Yeah.
Excellent, good stuff. Good stuff.
That was sick. It was sick, and that's a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Him swinging around King Ghidorah, or King Ghidorah like jumping on top of Godzilla and like stomping him out
Mm.
Yeah.
before kicking him like super hard. Oh, it's such a good. But Nick, I don't know if you knew, a lot of the designs in this movie are done by Yoji Shinkawa
Oh wow.
of Metal Gear fame.
Yeah. Holy
Really?
shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was tasked with designing. He was the second person to design Godzilla for this movie, and they
Mm.
didn't go with it because they thought it was too different.
Oh
Like,
wow.
because it was this weird bony structure.
Jeez, yeah.
Well, they kept the suits that the mutants wear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They kept that. That's a Metal Gear thing. The silver outfit that the
Yeah.
UN head wears. Which, by the way, here's my favorite line in the fucking movie.
Which is
Okay, so when he appears on the Zillion ship at the end to help everyone escaped, they go, "Oh my god, you're alive! You're alive! How'd you do it?" And then he just says, "I managed to escape somehow." I couldn't stop laughing. I was just like, "Fuck it," because he doesn't need to be alive at that point
no,
in the movie.
no.
No, they just brought him back for whatever fucking reason, and
Well,
like,
this movie has a bunch of stuff that doesn't track if you try and make
No.
it make sense.
no,
Like, yeah,
not at all. Like, yeah, go ahead.
well, the one I thought is like, this movie takes such pains to do the whole buildup of the president having been replaced,
Yeah,
but that like 3 scenes. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
we had a conversation. He told me about his dog. That's not your dog. You don't remember it. You don't remember, what was it, Devin or Flint? And then he does like a scanner's head explosion with a weird fish thing.
yeah.
Like,
It's
great.
cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But yeah, it's so random when he
Yeah.
just shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I managed to escape somehow."
It's so funny. Just that line. Just like, why do I think so hard in my writing?
Why am I
Yeah,
trying?
that's a good question.
When I could just do that. And that dog isn't even his. It's the news reporter's dog, the interviewers.
Exactly. He's a replicant Zalian who doesn't know. He doesn't know exactly. Yeah. Oh man.
And she has a thing with Don Fry, which you don't really put that together until Don Fry runs up to him and goes, like, at the end. Shit, man. This movie, ooh. Okay, so I guess we can just talk about like some of the fights, because
Sure.
the basic plot of this movie is like aliens summon a bunch of end of Showa era monsters all at once to attack the world.
The whole world, yeah.
The world, and then the EDF, literal EDF, is trying to stop them. The Earth Defense Force.
Yeah.
And then they're all taken away, and apparently the Zillions had stopped them all in one fell swoop. Humanity is quick to embrace them because they have the UN guy vouching for them as like, and they say there's this giant fucking sun or meteor coming towards the Earth, which we later find out is a hologram, because this is all a ploy to get the humans ready to become cattle for
The
the
exhale.
Zillion. Yeah. As revealed, through the scanners thing, because the UN guy was an alien or a Zillion beforehand.
Yeah.
And then they're betrayed. He's betrayed by the younger pop star looking guy.
Yes.
Zillion.
Yes.
He's like, let's just forego all the pretense and let's get to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has, and then they start trying. They bring back all the monsters. The monsters are wreaking havoc. So Don Fry and his gang, the main mutant guy,
Yep.
go get Godzilla and lead him around the world. And there's fights all over the world, including New York.
Can we talk?
Yeah, go for it. It's a hilarious depiction.
I wanted to say it so bad because I was like, I sat down and we're watching that scene where they set up New York is going to be attacked by. Do you remember who attacked? It was the pterodactyl. Rodan.
Yeah.
And he like blows up New York with a bunch of sonic booms and stuff.
He's just flying super fast, and he's so huge that it destroys buildings.
But the scene setting the tone for, okay, here's what New York is.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the scene?
Yeah, it's a dude in like a pimp fur coat
with a big pink Cadillac.
Yes.
That's
getting towed
by
a police officer.
He pulls a gun on the policeman.
Yeah. It's like a giant hand cannon, he calls it.
And there's just a cackling drunk lurking in the garbage behind them that they keep cutting. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's New York.
That's New York. Hey, welcome to New York.
Wait, you didn't tell the best part is when Rodan shows up and they both look up and their hats fly and it's
their hats fly in like cartoon effects.
The whistle sound effect.
Woo! And then they get blown.
They get blown away to cartoon explosions, and it's oh my god, it's so fucking funny.
And the pimp flies away towards the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It got us with, like I said, we were rewatching that on Discord with some people, and we were all dying.
It's wild. It's wild. It's
wild scene. And Sydney Zilla shows up from the Matthew Broderick 1998 film.
Yeah.
That horrible design.
And that's the only one that's not model, right? That one's the only one that's completely, like, the other ones get some CGI, but that one I think is just CGI, right?
Yeah, Zilla's pure CGI because it is in the original 1998 movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That scene apparently was supposed to be longer. The one where he eats the punks.
Yes, I remember that, where he chases two guys down an alleyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. What was the longer version of it?
They didn't say, but he wanted to make that longer, but they didn't. They had to cut a lot of stuff for this movie, even though because it was already beyond 2 hours.
Ooh.
Like the intro sequence is like supposed to be a minute long, but it's cut down to 30 seconds.
Right. Well, when I'm thinking about this movie, I want to mention what's his name, Manila.
Manila. I call him or colloquially known as Godzuki.
Oh,
in the fandom.
But like that character, I had seen a movie with that character, and it was like a kids movie. It was like it was like just a movie about learning the value of friendship and stuff.
That's right.
And I was like, how is that gonna get folded into this plot? What? And
for most of it, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It's just a bunch of random shots of a little boy and an old man with a rifle.
Yeah.
Going around with like this little like Sam the Sea Monster kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the resolution is at the end. It is only through Manila that I guess Godzilla chooses not to destroy everything else once he's
convinces him there's a future.
There is a future.
That's how I interpret it, because the child also stops that fucking old man from trying to take on Godzilla with a hunting rifle.
That's right. Yeah, man. What a time.
What experience?
I don't know how you didn't get that, Ian, that it was supposed to be about the future of humanity.
Oh,
being led by the children.
I think I was
still purity in this world.
There's still goodness. We cannot let war destroy us.
No, not at all.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
So back to kind of like what the plot is, and so they have to take down the aliens, and they do. Well,
Yep.
they have to take down all the monsters with Godzilla, and they do. The fights are short. I forget what the name of the spider one is. That one's like a really cool comical one
I
where he
loved that.
spins it around.
It looks really. It's a really cool design, and I also like the like, because excuse me, I feel like in a lot of classic the more old timey movies, we got like a lot of like jungle fights,
Yeah.
and I love that set. I just like
Mm.
that tropical like little jungle set that they fight on is
Yeah.
so
Did
so cool.
you watch Kong Skull Island?
I don't think I did.
The
I don't think I
legendary one? Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. I would want to know your take on that if you ever get a
that,
chance.
is that it?
What?
Is the John C. Riley in that
Yeah, that's
picture?
the John C. Riley one.
Okay, I gotta see it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
only seen bits, not the whole thing. Yeah.
It's long too, I believe. Like it's a longer movie.
Okay.
Anyway, Spider kills the mantis with like the power of the ocean.
Yes.
And oh man, that Zilla scene is famous in the one where he tail whips Zilla into the Sydney Opera House
Oh yeah.
and
No,
blasts him.
well, I think I had heard that like there was a general consensus that people really did not like Zilla. Like they did not
No.
Zilla was encroaching in a area he's not meant to in the fandom of. You're
Yeah.
just you're the other girl. You're not Godzilla classic.
No one likes Zilla, and it was supposed to be like a Japan versus America type thing too.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be. He wanted it to be a really long fight. They didn't know he could use Zilla until Toho was like, "Oh, you totally, we own that." Like,
Oh.
because Toho has like an iron grip on the Godzilla franchise, which is why the legendary stuff would become like really interesting when it started happening.
Right.
And they're notoriously strict to work with. Like, people do not like working with Toho. That's usually why Godzilla movies only have like one director, or like
Right.
they'll have a director and then that director won't come back.
Like one per movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, he wanted that fight to be really long, but they couldn't, like, just for time, for the sake of money and like time of making the movie.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna make it funny. That scene.
It is.
And it's a very funny scene.
Yeah.
Just the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
Hedorah shows up, the sludge monster.
Mm-hmm.
Which I forgot what Hedorah's fighting. Nick, do you remember?
Hedorah?
Yeah, because it's two beasts that like get launched out, and Hedorah's one of them before Godzilla blasts them.
It's like a giant lobster, right?
Yeah, it's the giant crab
I
thing.
don't know the name.
It's Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
That
poor base in the. I just remember that poor base in South Antarctica, or South Pole.
Oh my! I know. Those just chilling.
Those hunky boys were just being nice. They don't deserve to get blown up. Why'd you do that, guys?
Like, they look like a knockoff Rock, and like somebody else went.
I just the outfits they were in were funny. The dialogue had was just like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Ooh.
Well,
that's not good. Not a lot we can do here.
Yep.
The South Pole base.
Nope.
Well, we're gonna go out into the cold and just die,
or get blown up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and then you get the fight with King Caesar, Angdora, and the spike ball monster, and oh my god, what's the third? Rodan.
Mm-hmm.
Which that fight's cool. That fight's awesome.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
They start swinging around Andorra with like a baseball, and even back or like a soccer ball.
Oh, they do like a goalie thing where Godzilla dives and kicks him midair. Like,
misses him.
Yeah.
King Caesar like does like a Shaolin soccer kick.
Can I say
Foot goes for it.
different designs? Like his head, his like kind of dog dragon. That's the dog dragon kind of guy, right?
King Caesar, yeah, the one with the fur.
That's a fun design. I really dug that monster's like
Okay.
good design.
See, I've never dug it because I thought it was too. I think it's so goofy, but I feel like I'm in the minority here because I know a buddy of mine also really likes that design.
Because he's like evocative of actual mythological.
Yeah.
Like I recognize what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Whereas
King
lobster is giant lobster.
Giant lobster man.
Oh!
That fight's sick. The one with Brodan.
Yeah.
And then just stacking them onto a pile.
Yeah.
Trophies is so fucking cool. And then you get the fight with the Monster X, I think it's the official name. At the end, which is obviously like, yeah, that's the OC. Do not steal.
Yeah.
Monster comes down like Frieza. And it is a pretty cool design, like especially when you get up close to it. Before it turns into King Ghidorah, and that fight's sick. Oh my god, it's so cool.
That was really fun. Very
just
fun.
Swinging them back and forth, and like you're like, Jesus, that. I know it's like dudes in suits, but the way they shoot it, it does make him look like how slow it is. Makes him look like, yeah, he's moving a giant monster.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Is really good. Yeah.
What were some of your highlights for the fights before we talk about like what we got out of it?
Highlight for the fights, I'd say
the spider.
You like the spider? The spider swing's pretty good, man.
Pretty dope, man. Yeah.
It's even funnier in the sense that like the spider can't disconnect from the web.
Yeah.
He just gets thrown out the atmosphere.
Yeah. Gets Team Rocketed.
Gosh.
I think the motorcycle fight and the three-way fight are really good.
The motorcycle fight, awesome. The shootout where like the team of mutants are
I forgot about that.
They're running through like a packing district while stuff is falling.
It's like a gas plant or something. Yeah, some oil plant or whatever.
Because everything's blowing up for no reason. Just shit's fire. Yeah.
There's a moment where they're all like, they all do their intros, like their Kamen Rider-esque poses or Super Sentai poses.
Yeah.
And then, including there's a dude with like a pompadour. And then they show up, and it looks like as they're getting briefed, all the other soldiers are aiming their guns at them. And you're like, why? And then they take down the monster, of course.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Nick, some of your favorite fights.
Well, I mean, the spider one, that was cool. The one at the end with King Ghidorah, that was cool.
Sick. That's cool. And isn't that the... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
To say, isn't that the feeling Godzilla? What was your favorite part of the fight? She was cool.
It was cool. I think, I mean, everything with Gigan was cool. This is probably the best, like, Gigan. Like, looked and then, like, his fights in general.
Yeah.
That's probably the best they were, because he just had so much.
Yeah. The wires thing was really cool, especially Godzilla, like, ripping them off.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, the Godzilla, shoving that fly into the tower.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. The praying mantis. Yeah.
Praying mantis, yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. When the big lizard hit the other lizard, that was cool.
Cool. Rad. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about the movie before we talk about what we got out of it?
When Godzilla uses his radiation breath and decapitates that other dude, it was pretty sick.
Sick. Rad.
Shoot it twice. Yeah.
I do dig that there's like this wind effect that happens on the atomic breath in this movie.
Yeah.
To be like heat moving or whatever. There's a lot of great shots in this movie. The fucking Godzilla in front of Mount Fuji roaring, like, come on.
Yeah.
It's iconic. Walking into the Sea looks really good.
Walking into the Sea, that saturated shot was wild to me. It was like such a vibrant pink color. Like,
yeah. But it works. Like, it looks good. It's great movie. Yeah. So if there's nothing else, let's do Falling Action. What are our takeaways?
Sure.
What did we get out of it? What did you guys get out of Godzilla Final Wars? That's what I want to know. You go ahead, Ian.
Never trust the aliens.
Yeah, don't trust foreigners.
Yeah, that was that was literally the first thing I said in the Discord thing. Where the aliens show up and someone's like, don't, and someone's like, there's something suspicious going on. Like, oh, it's when they're all clapping and then there's the one person sitting down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, never trust foreigners.
I don't know. It's also a really fun movie in that if you want it in a meta sense, the movie is also saying like, yeah, Godzilla is a gift to the world that we're giving you.
You're welcome.
You know what I mean? You can totally like, where would you be without Godzilla? Nowhere. Spider food.
Be a crater.
Yeah.
This world would be gone.
Oh, I mean,
Godzilla would be like mostly destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's not a particularly deep movie, and I think if you try to look for that, it becomes weird because it's like, yeah, foreigners are bad.
And the Maverick is the one you should trust. The crazy American who will throw a little Matt Brannigan character. I threw wave after wave of my own men at the problem.
And you throw the most destructive thing on Earth. Against Godzilla, who doesn't have sides.
No.
Will just attack monsters because it's his territory.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it gets really weird if you're looking for that. So I will say, maybe the best way to approach this section then, is like, what's your favorite thing about the movie, and not just like a scene, but like you're watching this movie. What did you really, really like about it?
Not to totally retread, but just brief. Like, I do genuinely like one, how quick paced it is. We got to the good stuff now. Like, we know what. The other one is it is kind of like foot crazy, and I kind of like we've written our. I feel like the one I keep going on about, like the bringing everything back to Manila, and just to, well, look, we've written ourselves into a corner because there's no way he's going to trick Godzilla back to the South Pole. I don't know.
I don't know what they thought like was going to happen with that. Because Don Fry's like, I put him in there once, I can do it again.
Exactly. That's his plan. In the middle of the movie, they explain, here's what the second half of the movie is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to Godzilla, he's going to fight all the other monsters. I'm going to put Godzilla away again. And
as soon as the monsters are defeated, Godzilla blasts that ship out of the air. Like, because it's the last threat. The last threat is humanity against nature.
Well, I don't know. And guys, feel free to jump in with your knowledge, because there's one thing that I'm thinking, but I don't have like a solid. Oh, this is what this means. You know what I mean? Like, there's several points throughout the movie that they talk about how Godzilla is the repercussion for mankind's behavior.
Yeah.
And like, we brought Godzilla on ourselves in this way. But then also Godzilla is a metaphor for the repercussions of the bomb. So I was just like, why do the Japanese have to pay for the repercussions of this? I don't understand. But
so it's a more complicated, like, so in the original 1958, right? It's supposed to be a reminder of all the sins that would lead to the atomic war.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's not. They don't blame it. And like, okay, so I'm going to tread this carefully because obviously this is a very complicated situation, and we can all agree the atomic bomb was overkill and bad. We shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Or the U.S. shouldn't have done that. I wasn't alive and made that decision, and I'm like Hispanic dude, but but the U.S. shouldn't have made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you're at war, there's this feeling of everyone makes choices. We made a bunch of choices that led to that war, the Pacific Theater, especially Japan. Japan like really instigated a lot of stuff.
You Google some of the stuff that happened. It's dark. It's a dark time.
Real bad time. I would recommend Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, Supernova of the East, which is a really long series, but it gets into that mentality that they're in for World War II, and it's crazy. It's an insane thing. So they at the time don't view themselves as innocent.
Okay.
Right? And Godzilla, and like 10 or 15 years out, people are starting to maybe retread some of the things that will lead to that.
Okay.
And it's a reminder. It's a reminder of like you can't do that again.
Okay.
Because we know how it ends. Like, and we don't know if we could take like another one.
That's so much more depthful. I appreciate that concept. That totally makes sense. That totally
that first movie's legit. Like it's a fantastic piece of like. There's a reason it was in the Criterion first, right?
Right.
Like it is a fantastic piece of that era, and supposed to be that. All in disguise of a giant man in a suit, like destroying, and it's super entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
But it is that. It's a reminder of sins of the past and we can't repeat.
Okay.
Because nature will remind us that, like, we can't overcome it.
Right. Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, man.
You're welcome. I love Godzilla. Also, Godzilla 1958. It's like that's also in the top 3. It's probably like Shin Godzilla, Final Wars, and then 1958.
Oh, all right.
It's a good movie. You should watch it if you haven't seen it. Also, just like if you just have a passing interest in cinema, I feel like that's a very important movie. Like it's crazy important.
Yeah.
Like it's the birth of a genre, like essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Nick, what was your like favorite things about this movie?
Yeah, I think favorite things overall, what still stands out all these years later is just we talked about like just how much there is in this movie, but despite all that, there is actually, it's actually really great. Like it's not, it doesn't really feel bloated. Like I think it really is just having this, just running with everything, just running with having everything just cranked to 11. And sort of having a human story. This was honestly my favorite human story up until Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla is probably the best one.
Yeah, and I think this is just because they also crank it to the absurdity of the monsters, and like you said, it does just become like a Sentai film at some point.
It's crazy. It's good. It's so entertaining.
Yeah,
like, that's the thing. It's entertaining. You can't say you're bored watching this fucking movie. Like
it's actual nonstop.
It's insane. My favorite parts of this movie, I actually like the monster fights. As a kid, I mentioned I was a sucker for the amount of monsters that appeared. It just seemed like bang for my buck for someone who could barely afford to rent stuff.
Right.
I do appreciate that it is nonstop, so it's a lot of fun that way. At first, I'm not usually into the Matrix style of fighting, even though yes, at the time, as soon as it happened, like it was a really big deal and it is very cool. I tend to like very grounded, like almost like a slobber knocker, like things that look rough.
Like The Raid, like something very grounded.
Yeah, The Raid. I love Dread. Dread's still one of my favorite. If we count that as a superhero movie, that may be one of, if not my favorite superhero movies.
Okay.
I love that. I love, yeah, just the fights that look. Everyone's taking damage. Like people look like they just went through hell when they come out of it, even if they win.
Right.
But this, I dug how goofy it was and how it knew, so it went for it.
Yeah.
Right. There's little moments where it's like they might as well be flying.
Oh no!
Right.
And then they just wave it away as, oh well, they're mutants. That's how they do
They're
it.
mutants.
They're
mutants.
They're not people like us.
Yeah. They're not like us. They have monster blood in them. It's like how I like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So I'm like, if you're gonna go for it, go for it. Like, let's not beat around and like only do one shot or so, right?
No. Have multiple of dudes just basically doing like a pinwheel in the air for 4 minutes. Like, yeah.
Let's fucking go for it. No, I enjoy that bit a lot. I like Godzilla's design. I like this reverence for it as well. Like, yeah, it comes. It's weird because the movie comes with like it's a cautious thing in that we gotta stop this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then we gotta bring it back.
Yeah,
because it's port apart. It almost comes off as like the planet's like defense mechanism, which I think the Legendary movies would notice that and use it for later.
Yeah.
I like the big monster fights when they do happen. Yeah, the early ones are very short.
Yeah.
But the big ones are like so fucking cool. Like the 4-man fight, the 3 against 1 Godzilla fight is so good.
Yeah.
And the final fight with Gigan, Monster X, and then Ghidorah is so fucking rad.
Yeah.
I felt like a kid. I felt like a kid watching this. It hit all the right nostalgia parts for me. As someone who famously said on the last podcast, on the Storyteller cast, where I was like, I think the 2000s were overall bad. Like, this brought me back to a moment where I was like, I like this bit. I like this part of it. I'm still of the opinion most of the 2000s was bad, and we made a lot of mistakes. We shouldn't do that. But
yeah,
I love this movie. It's such a Chris as a kid movie. Just things he likes, what he wants movies to be. It's great, man. I don't know. It knows what it is. It goes for it. Doesn't cower away. Even though, and then it would horribly bomb in the box office, like bad. Like it would really, as I'd find out. It made. You know how I mentioned it wasn't released in the U.S. theatrically, but even though it premiered.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, by the way, when it premiered, that's when Godzilla would get his star on the Walk of Fame, and his prince in the Chinese Man Theater.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. This movie had a budget of $20 million.
Oh,
which was crazy big for a Godzilla movie at the time.
Okay.
Like it was the most of any Godzilla movie, and like Toho is known for having really tight purses.
Okay.
Which is why like there is very little Godzilla fights in most Godzilla movies.
Which
is such a strange thing, but like, it would do 12 million in Japanese.
Okay.
Wow. It would bomb. This movie bomb. It was the worst performing Godzilla movie of the Millennium series.
It did worse than 2000. Wow.
Well, okay, no, the Godzilla American 1998.
Yeah,
that's not part of it. That's not.
Oh, that doesn't count. Okay.
That one did bad too, but I think it made more money.
Oh, okay.
And most people don't count that movie as part of the canons.
He's in this one. I'm counting him.
It came out in the wake of Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, really?
Which did 190 million.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, granted, Toho owns that, or published it.
Okay.
It's not like Toho didn't make money.
They got
There was
something
another
on the
movie. Oh, The Incredibles came out that year.
Did Toho release that to Japan on
No, but
Japanese
it
audience?
took up a lot of box office
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
space. Yeah, it's that weird thing of people only see like one movie.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
especially at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I like this. I rewatching it. I'm glad I had a blast watching it. To me now it's just fun. It's so fun to get through. It's such a good group watch
Mm-hmm.
because shit's just popping off and it's wild. Whenever it
Right.
happens. I'm already starting to lose my voice because it's so early and I haven't drank a lot of water. But yeah. Anything else we want to talk about what we like before we get into the denouement?
I think we can press on. Nick, what do you think?
No, not that you think of.
Overall, recommend this movie to people. How would you recommend this movie to someone? How about that?
I would recommend this
If you
movie. If I were to recommend this movie, there's two people that I think are prime targets for this movie.
Yeah.
One is people who are at if you're having like a casual hang, like a few people over for drinks or something.
Yeah.
This is a great movie to put on.
Absolutely. Great party movie.
Oh, yeah.
Have 2 or 3 drinks, watch this movie. It's really fun. You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Or give it to someone who's 12. They will lose their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it to me at like 10 years old. It'll blow your fucking mind away. If you think this is the finest piece of cinema, you'd be like, I feel like all movies are crap. Why are movies as good as this?
I don't know, Mom. This one doesn't have any dragons at all.
No.
Like, not even a little bit.
Final Wars has like 3. That's not even all the monsters.
No. Oh, man.
Nick, how would you recommend this to someone?
I mean, I think you nailed it. I think it's you want this as a party film, or give it to someone who's never seen Godzilla or much movies. It's weird because I think it's rewarding either you haven't seen any Godzilla, or if you've seen all of them up until that point.
All of them, yeah.
You are rewarded the same, in my opinion.
I feel like I had more fun knowing almost nothing.
Yeah, you probably did. Like, man. All right, so let's get into the denouement. Anything to check out for the listener if they like this? It's more Godzilla movies. If you like that, go check out more.
Go watch Godzilla. Go watch Matthew Broderick's Godzilla. I know where Zilla's origin comes from.
Oh no. Matt, I'll do a recommendation to a YouTube video. Matt McMuscles has a What Happened video on the production and development of Godzilla Final Wars. It's about like 20-something minute video. It's great. So much info about it. All his What Happened series are fantastic. So whenever he does like a Godzilla movie, fucking all in. Yeah. And then you can watch the one about the Matthew Broderick movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's this is the end of the Millennium Era, right?
This is the last of the Millennium Era. Like I mentioned, after this, it's 10 years, and then Legendary's Godzilla in 2014.
Yep.
This was the sign off. This was it.
Yeah, it was extra stuff. You definitely got the feeling of a blowout with this movie. Definitely.
Yeah, they went out with a bang. You can't say they didn't.
Yeah.
Well, the movie went out with a bang. In terms of box office, it went out with a whimper.
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
In terms of performance, I think it barely recouped costs too with like DVD sales. But
yeah, in that case, you recommend Tokyo SOS and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Nice, those are good ones.
Okay. The thing I would probably recommend if you enjoy this movie, obviously there's a whole library of Godzilla movies you could check out. It made me think of and I just want to also like recommend for a smaller business. College Humor's Dropout, they did like a spoofy thing that was a mashup of Godzilla, Power Rangers, Kamen Rider,
Oh, wow. I don't know.
with all the D&D people doing silly voices. So I don't know, if you want to support like a smaller production company, they did something fun that
Right
was
on.
very inside baseball for fans of that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that I'm gonna check that out. That sounds wild.
Yeah.
Last thing I would recommend is check out the posters for this. Check out the poster for this movie. It's one of my favorite posters of any Godzilla. Like I want it, and I still don't have it. But also Godzilla posters from the Millennium and Heisen era, especially, are
Mhm.
fucking gorgeous. They are top notch. I would like to have one of all of them just to hang up somewhere and look at because I think sometimes I do just look at them because I'm like, wow, that's a fuck. Those, oh, mwah. Godzilla art is so good. So
Mhm.
go check out the posters.
Definitely.
They're
Definitely.
phenomenal. And I think that will do it. One of the shorter ones for sure.
Mhm.
But I feel like it's more of just, yeah, the movie's crazy. You gotta watch it. It's so entertaining. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it really is that. If you love Godzilla, it's a great way to get yourself primed for Godzilla minus one.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself
Mm-hmm.
hyped up. Fall in love with Godzilla again.
And just have a fun time. Really,
Really
all
fun.
in on the most fun parts of the franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would agree that it's one of, if not the funnest movie of all the Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
Next to
Yeah.
maybe some of the Jet Jaguar stuff, which are really entertaining. All right. Yeah, Godzilla, you
Yeah.
guys. All right. Next one will be Shin Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
Shin Godzilla.
Have we all watched that? Or
I think so. Hideki Anno directed.
yeah, did you watch that, Ian? You're the only one I don't know.
I think I may have seen some of it, but I'm gonna have to rewatch it
Oh, you're gonna have
anyway.
to rewatch it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to bust out my Blu-ray. I have a story about that Blu-ray that I'm gonna tell on that
Oh shit.
on that podcast. That makes me very angry. So,
Yeah.
Nick was there for the entire saga of that.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Oh,
That's
damn.
hey guys, we're all hey audience, you and me are gonna hear something wild next time. I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, goodbye.
Yeah.
The end.
The
No,
end. We did
we
it.
got-
Final Wars. We finalized it. There we go.